First of all, quick little survey. How many of y'all are new to buying rental properties? How many of you own a rental property? Okay, so we got quite a few people in here. All right, just a little bit about me. My name is Wendell Burris. I run the REIA with Kevin and Joe and Jared. I've been in real estate for over 15 years. Most of my time has been dealing with investment properties, rentals. And so we manage well over 2,000 units. We're in Lubbock, Amarillo, Canyon, Midland, Odessa, Abilene, El Paso. And so we cover all of West Texas. And so know quite a bit about rental properties, which is what we're going to talk about today. How to buy your rental property. First of all, why would you choose a rental property as your investment strategy? There's a lot of investment strategies out there. Wholesaling, you can do owner finance, flipping. And so I have a little chart here just kind of showing what are the differences. And I'll just really go over like the buy and hold. First of all, you do have some monthly cash flow. You actually get to keep it. And so you are going to gain that appreciation that the property has. Thirdly, the tax depreciation. The effort required, I would say it's medium. You kind of need to know what you're doing before getting into it. And it's really good for passive income and growing your net worth. And so growing your net worth is probably the biggest key compared to like flipping. You know, there's no monthly cash flow. You're not keeping it, so you don't get the appreciation. No tax depreciation. Pretty high effort level, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose a lot of money there. And it's best for like moving fast and getting capital, right? Because you just flip it, you get the cash, and then you move on. Owner finance, I know Kevin has taught this. Each strategy has its own pros and cons. Owner finance, you get cash flow, maybe a little bit even more than a rental property. But you're selling the property, so you're not really getting the appreciation or the tax depreciation. It's pretty easy, especially if you go through Kevin's course. So a little plug for Kevin there. And so as far as a rental property, there's a lot of pros on why you would want to do that. And if y'all have questions, please feel free to ask anytime. So before you get into buying your first rental property, you need to set a clear goal. That may look at cash flow. How much do you want to make per month on your rental property? Do any of y'all have like a minimum that you need when you look at buying a rental property? Stuart?
Bare minimum 100. Okay with around 200 and home run 300.
It's 1 to 200, but you'd love to get 300 per month. Okay. Anyone else? Kind of what they look for? Just trying to share what other people are doing. So if you're looking, you know what's good. I would say anything over 100 right now with the higher interest rates is probably pretty good. Okay. The longer you have a property though, it just gets better over time. So rental properties is really a long-term strategy, which is why it helps with your net worth. So you may be buying for cash flow, or you may be buying for that net worth, which is your equity in the deal. You could be doing both. And so I see it both ways. You just need to set your goals on what you're wanting to do. Cash flow or building net worth. So why would you want to build your net worth? Does everyone know what your net worth is or what it means? Yes, yes. Yeah. It's perfect. So banks love to see a high net worth. So, true?
True.
True.
It helps.
It helps. So, step 2, you really need to know your budget. what price range are you going to be staying in? This is where teaming up with a realtor comes handy, like Houston. He can give you a lot of information there. Also, speaking with like a property manager, we can kind of give you a good price range to kind of stay in. You want to pick your area. Area is probably the number one killer on rental properties, in my opinion. So you definitely want to pick an area that, one, you're probably familiar with, has a good school, and some people buy in different towns, cities, states, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You need to know what you're getting into. Okay, a lot of people start in their own backyard just because they know their own backyard. So I would primarily focus on like a really good school district, kind of like a clean neighborhood. You can always just drive these neighborhoods and you can really tell. And then of course you're going to need a team. Before you even get started, you need a team. Good news is this team is already here. It's our sponsors. We got insurance right here. We got lender right here. Who else? We got a realtor. A lot of our sponsors are not here because it's busy season, so they're out working, but we got roofers, HVAC, plumbers, all sorts of people. And so you want to build your team. Even wholesalers. Wholesalers are here. Oh, I forgot, a real estate attorney and title company. We have that too. And we offer discounts on all that. You're gonna want to know your numbers. If the math doesn't work, it won't work in real life. So I got a few numbers I'm gonna go over, but the formula is actually pretty simple. You take your monthly rent minus your expenses, and it's gonna give you your cash flow. That's on a simple level, okay? And so you first got to figure out what will the property rent for. How do you go about finding that? What do y'all do? John. Pay attention. How do you find the monthly rent? What will a property rent for? How do you find it? So, two good answers. A lot you can do on Zillow. You can look at what other properties are renting for. Another option is have your property manager find what the rent would be for that property as well. So you can easily call or text me, and then I'll look it up and tell you kind of the price range that it would be in. Your expenses. This will vary. It all depends on the type of loan you get. Just know that that's going to include your mortgage, taxes, insurance. You're going to have repairs. You're going to have repairs. You're going to have repairs. Tenants are going to destroy your property at some point in time, so you're going to have repairs. Then of course you're going to have vacancy. It will never be 100% occupied all the time, and so you need to account for that. If you need a calculator that does this for you, we already got it. It's on the app. Just download the app. And so that leaves you with your cash flow, what you actually put into your pocket. I do have a little note here. If it's your first one, you probably need to really focus on positive cash flow. And the reason I say that is if you're losing money on your first property, you're probably going to get burnt out. So you actually want that property to make you money. Down the road, if you acquire a lot of properties, not all of them need a cash flow. Some of them may just have a lot of equity built in, and you're just going to sit on it for a while, let it appreciate while you slowly pay it down. And so you're okay losing $100 a month because you know that you're making it up elsewhere. Does that make sense? Stewart.
Could you explain why it would be beneficial for some people to be leasing $100 a month?
Yeah, I'll do it real quick. No one likes to lose $100 per month. No one. But if you're losing $100 per month in your rental property, which is an investment, you get to write that off. So all those expenses that you have, negative cash flow, you get to write that off on your taxes, which will help when you file your taxes. So that helps there, but you may also be willing to lose $100 per month if you know like this property is going to be worth a lot of money in 5-10 years. You know, maybe they're building up this whole subdivision and you got like one of the first ones. Okay, in 5 and 10 years when everything's built out, it's going to be worth a lot more. And so you're okay with losing $100 per month because in 10 years, you may double your money when you decide to sell. Oh, already clicked, sorry. Everyone's heard of the golden rule. Everyone has said it's 1%. I think that's a lie. Especially in today's market with the higher interest rates, it needs to be 1.2. Do you understand what the golden rule is? I've heard of it. I think it just needs to be higher. So if you have a $100,000 house, it's worth $100,000. Your rent needs to be at least $1,200. Does anyone disagree with that? Any other opinions? I'm just curious. I always hear the 1%, but every time I do the calculations on 1%, it just doesn't work in today's market with the higher interest rates.
And that's still time.
I'm sorry?
That's still time. That's still a time.
That's still a tight margin. It doesn't exist at 1% at all, which is why I increased it. Does everyone follow that though? So finding and evaluating deals. You're going to be looking at a lot of properties. I make offers on quite a few properties myself. I maybe only land 5 to 10% of them. You're going to probably be in the same boat. What's great is the more properties you look at, the better you get at evaluating them. You'll kind of just start getting used to it. Like, I know that this house is worth somewhere in this range. You can just rattle that off in your mind. So where do you find deals? The MLS. Not great for finding a lot of deals, but there can be some there. Wholesalers, we got one here. They find properties for you, already at a discount. Driving for dollars, driving the neighborhood, trying to find the worst house on the block. Look them up, send them a letter, just try to get in contact with them. That still works today. Your network, coming to these events. Right here, when people are posting deals and networking with people, you're gonna find probably good deals. Again, would you say 2 or 3 deals sold in the last 2 months here? Just from coming to this meeting? And so people are exchanging deals here. So you definitely wanna make sure that you're coming to find those. My biggest source is wholesalers, just like, what was your name? Justin? That's their job, honestly, is to go out and find properties at a discount. And so you want to get buddy with Justin here. So when you find a deal and you go walk it and you start running the numbers, which we have that calculator that will help, here's kind of like a simple breakdown. And so let's say that you're going to purchase price 120. This is using like a traditional lender, okay? There's so many different ways to finance a deal. 120 purchase price, and you put down 25%, which is $30,000. Your loan amount would be for 90, Interest rates today for an investment type property, they're pretty high. I know they're kind of fluctuating a little bit. I just chose 7.5, which is kind of more realistic, honestly. That means your mortgage payment is going to be around, I can't read that number from there, 629. Can y'all read that? I'm getting old. Market rent, let's say on this property, using the 1.2 rule is $1,440. All right, y'all follow that? Just some simple math there. All right, so then if you do the monthly breakdown, so you have $1,440 in gross rent coming in. You're gonna have your mortgage payment, your property taxes, insurance, vacancy loss. You definitely want to account for that because it will not be occupied 100% of the time. Repairs, and if you decide to hire a property manager. So with all those expenses, your monthly cash flow on this example will be $184 per month. That's an actually pretty good deal, which is why I did the 1.2. It's not great, but I would take that. Any questions over the numbers? Again, we have a calculator in our app that does this all for you as well. Once you start plugging in some of the basic numbers, it automatically spits this out. How will you finance your first rental? This is where it gets a lot complicated. Definitely, I recommend you speak with people who are already in that game, which is like Kevin and Joe. This is their bread and butter, what they really do. You got conventional loans going through a bank. Buying an investment deal through a bank is going to be extremely difficult. How many of y'all use an actual bank to buy properties? One person. The refi, but the purchase? Same with you, do you use a bank to purchase? Okay. Earlier, like half the room raised their hand like they own a rental property and only one person uses a bank. So it's not that common. Why is that? Banks require the most down, 20 to 25% down to purchase that property. So it's really expensive upfront to buy through a traditional bank. They're also hard to get approval for. They want everything. All your income, taxes for the last 2 years, your kidney, blood sample, just keep going. It is ridiculous. So you have a DSCR loan, which is what a lot of people are using. Most investors are probably going somewhere around this route, DSCR, debt service coverage ratio loan, which Kevin and Joe can do. So that's a great option. You got a portfolio loan. I really don't recommend those because you're tying all your properties into one loan. It works, but when you sell one or you add one, it just makes it confusing. It's hard to track, hard to follow. And then there's also seller financing as an option. Yeah, and some people here do seller financing. Any questions over how to finance the property? Yes?
Technically, with the seller finance, it was subject to, would you consider that legitimate or strategy? I mean, it's a hybrid deal, there wasn't anything involved in it, but it was only like 10K just to help them out, and it was only being paid out like $50 a month, so, but it's actually legal and it's subject to.
That's an option as well. There's a lot of options. I think what most people are doing when they're buying a house, when they're first getting started, is they're using either private money or hard money to buy it, fix it up, and then roll it into a traditional type product, either at a bank, like you said, refinance it, or through a DSCR loan. So hard money, then once you're done, roll it into a more of a long-term product. You have a great option that may be a little bit more advanced if people don't understand that, but that is definitely an option.
It's more of a solution solver for your problem.
Yeah. Am I going too fast? Is everyone kind of following? Everyone good? Okay. All right, so once you buy it, you're gonna have to get it ready as a rental. Just kind of going through the steps here. You're going to, when you find a house, the numbers work, you're gonna make an offer. Once that is accepted, you're gonna inspect the property. You really wanna nail down that repair budget. How much is it gonna cost to fix the property? Negotiate repairs if that's even part of the deal. A lot of wholesalers you're just buying as is. So there's really not a whole lot of negotiations. I know you can negotiate price, but I mean, asking them to fix the AC is probably not going to happen. If you go through like a hard money lender, they're gonna require like some type of appraisal to make sure it's worth what you think it is. I highly recommend that so that you don't get stuck with a property that's not worth what you thought it was. And that's what they want to. It's protection for both sides. Then you'll close at a title company, and then at that point you're the owner of the property. When you start the repairs, this is when what we in the industry call a make ready, which is getting the property ready for rent. Make ready. I'll get that. And so that's a common term. I don't think everyone knows what that means. Just make ready. And so really focus on what 90% of what the renter is going to see, which is what? Flooring and walls. If you really focus on that, that's what everyone sees. So if you attack that first, everything else will kind of fall into place. And so fresh paint, try to stay neutral colors. Most likely it's going to need paint if you're buying a fixer-upper, right? So just know that. You really want it clean. Again, cleaning the floors. LVP is pretty popular right now as a rental property. It's pretty inexpensive. It looks nice. It lasts longer than carpet. I actually use loose lay vinyl flooring. It's a little bit higher up than just the glue down, but Lubbock has some moisture problems, and we keep seeing that. So this loose lay solves that problem. Stuart.
What's your opinion if they have like hardwood floors? Keep it hardwood or lay it on top with a non
So the question is, what about hardwood flooring? What's the condition of the hardwood flooring? I don't know.
Even damage, so
Can you sand it and just restain it and it'd be fine? Go that route. If it's destroyed, you may put carpet over it or like a vinyl plank on top of it. That's totally fine. Just depends on the condition of the hardwood floors. Don't run into hardwood floors that often though. The older properties will have it, but none of this newer stuff will have that. Just depends on the condition.
Do you put vinyl in the bedrooms or carpet?
I personally like to do vinyl plank throughout and carpet in the bedrooms. One, that keeps my cost down a little bit because carpet is cheaper. So if I just put carpet in the bedrooms, it's a little bit less. And I still hear people, they like to get out of bed and not step on something hard and cold. So carpet solves that problem. Can't say it's the best, that's just what I do. It seems to work out. I see a lot of people do vinyl plank throughout the whole house and it does just fine as well. It's just, I hear comments, people like to step out of bed and not step on something hard and cold. After you focus on the walls and flooring, now of course you need to make sure the property is actually functional, like AC. If you don't have AC in your property and you didn't plan for that, just sell it. You live in Lubbock, Texas. It's been over 100 degrees for the past 2 months. If you don't have AC, you're not going to rent your property. Don't know what to tell you. No, not a mini split. No, not a window unit. People want AC. Do y'all want AC? Exactly, so does the tenant. So stop it. Stop it. So HVAC, plumbing, want to make sure that there's no plumbing issues. You probably want to have, like when you're buying the property and you're inspecting it, have a plumber go look at it, because plumbing is the one item that always gets everyone, even the experienced investors. You can't see the plumbing. It's in the walls, it's in the ground. You will miss it, and the next thing you know, it's $10,000 you did not budget for. So have it inspected before you buy it. Even I get burned on plumbing.
In your
Stewart.
professional opinion, if you have to replace the sewer line, would you recommend replacing the water lines as well? Just get it all done so that you don't have to worry about it in the future? Or what's your opinion?
I don't really have an opinion because it all depends on your situation. How much money did you budget? How much money do you have? Is there any issues with the water lines, or is it just a sewer line? I mean, there's.
If the property was a complete flip where they had to go all the way down to the steps and they had to do the sewer line, but the water line seemed to be okay, there's still a cop. You just say it's okay to move it on, or we recommend just replace it so you don't have to worry about future mishaps.
Depends. Did I budget for replacing the water lines? Most likely I would not. If they're working just fine, I would not touch it. So once walls, flooring, focus on those first. AC, plumbing, get it, really just make sure everything's working. Okay? Just go through, turn on everything, operate everything, make sure it's working. If it's not, just fix it. Then get it professionally cleaned. A clean property helps dramatically here. People don't want to live in a dirty property. It's going to help you in every aspect. So you want a really good cleaner. And that's probably the number one complaint I get as a property manager is when people move in, it's not clean. So there's a lot of people out there that are very picky on cleaning. So you just need to attention to detail on cleaning. That's the hardest thing, cleaning and doing it right. Then of course, landscaping, just mow edge. You want to make sure the property looks right. Again, you just bought this property, you're fixing it up, you're trying to figure out, you're about to put it on the market for rent, and so you want it to look good. All right. When doing your make ready on the property, you do have to follow Texas property code. There's rules, regulations, laws that you have to follow that you probably don't even know about. And so I'm going to talk about a few of those. You are required by law to have smoke detectors in your property. If it came with smoke detectors, you need to check them. They expire. How many of y'all knew that? Smoke detectors expire. They're only good for 10 years. I'm just saying, if your house burns down and they pull a smoke detector off the wall and it's expired 1998, your insurance is not going to cover you. Right, Sean?
They will find it.
They will find it. That's exactly what they're looking
They
for.
will find that. It's true.
Check your smoke detectors. Basically, if you can replace the battery, it's almost time to replace it because all the new ones are batteryless, right? It's built in, you can't change the battery anymore. And so after 10 years, it just stops. All the new ones are like that. So,
Resistant ones.
yeah.
That's the easiest way to go about it.
So you need a smoke detector in every bedroom, living room, basically anything that ends with a room, you need a smoke detector. And you need a smoke detector in a hallway with 2 adjacent bedrooms.
But no, let me tell you one thing. Temper resistant, section 8, you have that. It's their code. But I would tell, just replace them because Tenant took the battery out of the smoke detector, had a kitchen fire, and claims adjusted new. The battery wasn't in it, and it was found burned. Not
That's a good insurance tip.
yeah.
All new smoke detectors when you buy the home, just budget for it. You also need a carbon monoxide detector. But what if your property's all electric? Do you still need one? Asking y'all, what's the answer?
It depends if you have a garage or not.
Yeah. If you have an attached garage, you still need a carbon monoxide detector, which most houses here have an attached garage. If there's no attached garage, you don't need one. But even then, I would recommend it just for insurance reasons. Just do it. Get a combo. But if you do a carbon monoxide detector, there's rules. You can't just place it anywhere. And so this is why I highly recommend you hire a professional like myself if you don't know what you're doing. It needs to be within 15 feet of a sleeping area. So if you don't, some properties may need 2 of them, just depending on the layout, maybe more, I don't know, it just depends on the layout, right? So within 15 feet of a sleeping area. I saw a hand up earlier. Was it you, Stuart?
What do you say, 15 feet to the door of the bedroom?
Yeah, to the door of the sleeping area, which may mean you need 1, 2, 3. Also, I like to install them, follow the instructions, but I think they're at like 5 feet, which is about the same height as your thermostat. Easy rule of thumb.
So they have to be, or be above that.
5 feet from the floor.
Yeah.
Thermostat height. Read the instructions. You'll be fine. First of all, just have them. Rule number 1, and make sure that they are working. Window latches on all the windows. You need your windows to lock. This is security reasons, obviously. But also you have to have 2 egresses on each bedroom, which is, a door, or it could be a window. So whichever those could be, maybe it's 2 doors, so you don't need windows. But there needs to be 2 exits, which are commonly a door and a window. And so 1 window needs to at least open up in each bedroom. And they all need locks. Let's see. Dang, it's hard to read this from this far away. I'll have to. Okay. On the doors, you're gonna have to have a deadbolt and a privacy lock on the exterior doors. So that's your front door, back door, and even your garage door. So you're gonna have to have at least 2 locks, a deadbolt and a privacy lock. A privacy lock's kind of like the ones at the hotel you flip over and you can't unlock it from the outside, you can only unlock it from the inside. All the exterior doors need those on a rental property. And you also have to be able to see who's at the door on all the exterior doors, right? If someone comes and knocks on your door, you have to be able to see who it is. And so either that's like a window, maybe your door has a glass in it to where you can see, or you need a peephole. So you have to have those as well. Stuart.
Are there height requirements on people or windows as well? Because I know some doors, the windows are.
I actually was talking about this. So if you look it up, there's 2 requirements, just normal and then ADA. Okay? most of y'all are probably not gonna be dealing with ADA, but just know if someone asks, you need to follow ADA rules on how to install that peephole, which is, I think, like 3 to 4 feet. I think the common is 5 feet. Again, when you buy a peephole, it comes with an instruction book. It'll tell you. Yeah. That's a whole different thing that we'll get into. And then between tenants, just know that you have to rekey the property. You have to, it's the law. You can't use the same key. Security reasons, right? What if the old tenant has a copy of the key? They can come in whenever, so you have to rekey the property. Those are kind of like the required by law. Here's some also for just good practice. Again, working AC. Everyone wants AC. I've already told y'all that. Hot water. Actually, hot water is not a requirement, but I don't know anyone who's going to rent without hot water. So this comes up kind of maybe in maintenance. Like if a tenant's hot water is out, it's still urgent, and you have to fix it, but it's not like as dire as maybe like the AC is out. And there's some rules when your AC is not working at certain temperatures. Like if it's over 90, which it has been for the last 2 months, if the AC goes out, it's an emergency. You have to take care of it. You cannot not do it. Or if it's cold outside and it's below 50, you have to fix the heater. It's not optional. It's an emergency. You have to do it. Going back to AC, ACs are actually not required, but heaters are. But I'm just saying, no one's going to rent a property without an AC, so you might as well just make it required. Exterior lighting, you want to make sure that people can see, again, security, like your front porch light, back porch light. You also have GFCI outlets. A lot of the older properties don't always have them, as it wasn't required back then. I would install them anyways. You can buy like a 3-pack at Home Depot and just have like your maintenance guy install them in like the bathrooms and kitchen. All properties. The reason I say that is I have been in a lawsuit where a tenant had a guest over, so it wasn't even the tenant, and they plugged in their hair dryer and they got shocked. And they sued. It was an older property, it wasn't required. People can still sue. And so my recommendation is always do GFCIs in the bathrooms and kitchen. Newer properties, you usually don't have to worry about that because it's like that already. But if you're doing a remodel or you have an older property, just highly consider GFCIs. You do want to document everything before a renter moves into your property. So do like a before move-in inspection. That way you have evidence of what the property looked like before they moved in. This will come back in spades on the back end whenever they move out and they're disputing charges. Also, keep a file on every maintenance request. So when you do lease it out, rent it, if they submit a work order, maintenance request, keep that. Don't throw it away. You want a record of that. Oh, hold on. Okay. All right, so now it's time to market your property. You need to do a lot of research on what the prices in that area are going for. Speak to a property manager, and you want to price it right first. Just overpricing a property is not going to get you anywhere. It's just not. People are shopping by price. first. So like when you go to Zillow, you go to any website online, people are shopping by either, like bedroom count, bathroom count, and price. So you definitely want to focus on price. You want good photos. And before you take photos, you can hire like a professional photographer, which I would highly recommend, or just get really good at AI. So that after you take photos, you can run it through AI and it comes out better. Okay, you want to open up the blinds, you want to close the toilet seats, turn on the lights, turn off the ceiling fans, so it's not spinning in the photo. I'd also recommend doing a video if you can, like a walkthrough of the property. Just another easy way to advertise it. And you want to write a clear listing description, right? What are all the amenities? Here's a little cheat sheet for those that don't know. You can go to like Zillow and look at their amenities, and that's what you want to focus on. Okay? Y'all know what I'm talking about? When you start looking for properties, it has a hot tub, has a pool, which your rental property won't have that, but you know what I mean? And you want to copy those because that's how Zillow is going to rank your property. So if someone like clicks on has a garbage disposal and yours has one, but you didn't add it, your property gets removed from the list. So use the built-in cheat sheet on Zillow. For amenities, you want a clear marketing description, where the property is located. You also want to disclose any and all fees. That's probably the biggest topic at the state level right now. I was there, 2 or 3 weeks ago. The Texas Apartment Association, and the biggest thing that we're fighting right now is fee transparency. So don't hide your fees. Market your fees. If you're going to charge like an additional fee for like taking out the trash or something, you want to include that in your marketing description.
What can you put on your listing that'll get you in trouble?
Very good point. Which comes back to like HUD and ADA type stuff. You have to know what you're doing, especially those with a license. Any realtors in here and you're buying your own rental properties and managing it yourself, you're going to be in more trouble. Individuals, not so much, especially if you have a single family, which is classified anything from 1 to 4 units. If you have anything above 4 units, so like a 5-plex or higher, it now applies to you. But like in your marketing description, you can't say walking distance from tech. Why? Some people can't walk. Some people are in wheelchairs. You can't say that. You can't say like, great for a family. Same reason, what if you don't have a family? It's crazy out there.
What are the penalties that you're hearing for things like this? I mean, you can't say it, but what's the fine, what's the penalty, what's the punishment? Or what do they say it's being cut?
Yeah. I don't know the actual dollar amount. They scare you with that. Upwards of like $25,000 if they find you guilty. What will happen is they can file a complaint against HUD. HUD's going to reach out to you. Either you're going to have to fight it yourself or hire an attorney. Has anyone hired an attorney recently? Minimum $5,000 to get started. Okay, so there's $5,000. You have to prove anything and everything, all your documentation to the HUD investigator. And this is an ongoing process for months. So if you don't know what you're doing, you just gotta do some research. This is, if you just bought one property, it's not gonna apply to you. But if you have a license or you have a 5-plex or greater and you don't know what you're doing, you're just asking for trouble. So just be cautious on that. That was a very good question. Stuart?
How many properties do you have to manage yourself for your own personal property before
I don't think it's a number, it's the count. Is it classified as single family, which is 1 to 4 units?
So this gentleman mentioned the like penalties or not penalties, but what could get you in trouble. And so the where you mentioned before where the photos is running through AI, but I mean, at what point, just like the description, can you not do something with AI?
Yeah, so you may have a disclaimer on your marketing, show, like, just saying, you know, hey, these images, we used AI to help clean them up. You don't want to alter the image. Does that make sense? Make it brighter, cleaner, higher resolution, but don't change like the walls or the layout or something like that. Don't do that. Okay? Just enhance the current photo. That's it.
What you're not seeing is they take a photo of the outside and they say make it night, and they put lights that aren't there in the photo.
Don't have an opinion on that. I mean, I don't have an opinion on that one. How many of y'all are taking photos at night? So I don't think it's that common. I understand what you're talking about. Just what does it look like at night? Yeah. I wouldn't probably add the lights if it doesn't have it. Don't add something it doesn't have. Just enhance what it has. If you're using AI. So price it right. You want really good photos. You want to list all the amenities, have a good marketing description. You can also have AI help you create a marketing description and follow
Yeah,
fair housing.
That's pretty safe. I mean,
Yeah.
it scours the internet for what should be allowed in
Yeah.
Texas at this point, so it should be in real time, just to keep you from.
Should be, but
Should
don't
be.
always trust AI.
No. Probably
It's
not.
never steered me wrong. Never. Stuart? No.
You can also use AI to like, put in there, I want to index for all the keywords, so records, description, little keyword.
Yeah, that's really advanced stuff, but yes, you
Yeah.
can. Did y'all hear what he said? Like when you're writing your marketing description, have AI like write it so it's SEO friendly, so more people can find it. That's a great tip. So once you have it marketed and someone actually applies for your property, you're going to have some type of application screening process. If you're doing it yourself, there's a lot of different softwares, programs that you can use. I'm just going to mention Zillow. I have no affiliation with Zillow. It's easy. Everyone knows Zillow, but they have one kind of built in that you can use. You want to screen every tenant before you approve someone. Why would you do that, Joe?
Because it's better having empty property than a property with bad tenant in it. Yeah, screening is so important.
You're going to want to ask income. You want to look at their credit, if possible. Some type of background check. Want to verify their employment, verify their rental history. There's so much out there. I mean, you probably don't want to have it sounds bad, but it's true. Someone who has nothing but felonies of selling meth move into your property. Guess what? You're going to be the next one on the news.
Are there still a whole lot of emotional support animals? Is
That's a sore topic right now. Okay. ESAs. So, how many of y'all know what an ESA is? We're getting off topic. It's an emotional support animal. So those with a disability have the right to, apply with an emotional support animal. And if qualified, they don't have to pay a pet deposit, pet rent, because it's no longer considered an animal, it's a companion. It's part of oneself. And so you can't charge fees on that. If you get an ESA request, you do need to know what you're doing. However, HUD has changed their ruling on this just a little bit in June, end of May. They're not going to pursue complaints over ESAs as hard as before. Take that with what you want. I don't know what that means. No one's really, this is new, what is it, 2 months ago? ESAs and service animals. So service animals are trained to do a task. Like a sightseeing dog, like you're blind, a dog helps you, walk. So they're trained to do a task, and then an ESA is for emotional support. So you can ask for an ESA for anything, high stress at your job, and your emotional support animal calms you so that you can work and make money so you can enjoy your life. That's a whole separate class, I think. Do y'all want more on that? No? All right, so where to list your property? Again, I'm just throwing out Zillow. Zillow is very popular. When people are looking for places to buy, places to rent, everyone knows about Zillow. They're the biggest, so you just join them. Everyone's looking on Zillow. But you can also do Facebook Marketplace. That's not a bad option. You will get a lot of idiots on Facebook Marketplace, a lot of tire kickers, but you can also have success. So it's just...
What about apartments.com?
Yes, apartments.com, especially if you have an apartment complex.
Well, what about single family?
But single family, yes. Apartments.com is now, it's a network of like 4 or 5 different companies, and homes.com is part of that, and they're investing a whole bunch of that to try to compete with Zillow, and so apartments.com is a great source to post your property. Basically anywhere online you want to be, if it's free. Some places do charge. That's just according to your budget, right? I highly recommend Zillow as the #1 source. Apartments.com is a great one, and probably Facebook. Facebook's free. You just deal with idiots, and so I don't know what else to say there. Yard sign, that actually still works. So people actually drive by properties, and it's also, just they can find the property easier. So apparently GPS is not that common to everyone. Referrals from other residents. If you have multiple properties, you can ask for referrals. And your investor network. Like coming here asking if they have anyone, or asking family members, do you know anyone who's looking for a place to rent? There's a whole lot of Facebook groups as well with people looking. The only thing I will mention on top of Facebook is most of the people on Facebook, even though you can have success, they're on Facebook looking for individual owners who don't screen as well. They're not going to the property management companies because they screen a lot higher. So you'll probably look getting someone with something wrong already. Not always. I just see that quite a lot. Stuart.
So, on yard signs, I've had success on having a property, just a normal yard sign, then.
Okay, let's hold on. I didn't realize it was already 7, and I know some of y'all have to go. So I'm gonna kind of speed this up a little bit. So sorry, guys. Income 3 times the monthly rent is probably the bare minimum you want to look at. So when verifying their income, they need to make 3 times the monthly rent. You want to do a credit check if possible. Kind of set like a minimum that you want to deal with. Don't get too crazy. If they had good credit, they would buy a house. So if you're looking for 640 and above, that's not going to be what you're going to get. Just being honest with you. They're renting for a reason. Most of them. Okay? Rental history, call their previous landlord Did they pay rent on time? Did they cause issues? You want to check that. Criminal background, you don't want felonies. And when you start having multiple properties, you have to be consistent with your screening across every property. You can't make exceptions. That's how you get in trouble. When using the lease, what happened? Just shut off. I'm done. Go home. Thanks, everyone. The next part was about the lease. There's a lot of leases out there. Realtors have access to a TAR lease. It's free to them at being a realtor. I highly recommend the TAA lease, the Texas Apartment Association lease. It's what 70% of all of Texas uses, and it's what the judges are trained on. Okay? They're not trained on the realtor lease. If you're using some type of custom lease, I don't recommend it. You can get free access to the TAA lease by joining the Lubbock Apartment Association. If you have less than 10 properties, it's free. Okay, you get the lease for free. It's the best lease out there. It's what the judges are trained on, and it's what 70% of everyone across Texas uses. So use that lease. And I don't
Say TAA.
Texas Apartment Association lease, residential lease. Did your computer die? I guess I'll just open it up for questions since anyone have questions? Stuart.
You all do, at the beginning you said kind of what business you guys are in. Do you guys do apartment complexes?
How big is it?
Any size.
If you're self-managing, how big would you recommend to start looking for additional?
Depends. All right. So, a lot of investors, I recommend, like the first one, you do it yourself. You learn the business. Okay. Some people just don't have the time. They don't know what they're doing. They don't live here, so they can't really manage it. So that's when they hire someone. If you can do it, do your first one or two yourself. Okay. But if you continue to grow, you're going to reach some point to where it doesn't make sense for you to do it anymore. So that's where like hiring myself would be an option for you. Okay, probably not your first one. I would really encourage you to learn it. But if you really don't have the time, you don't want to deal with tenants, just know you will be on call 24/7. You will get those phone calls at midnight. If you don't know how to screen, and you don't know, about the move-out process, and you don't want to learn those things, that may be a cue for you to hire someone as well. So, after you screen someone, you get a lease. I recommend a TAA lease. Those of you just getting started, it's free. Once they move in, follow that lease. Don't let them do whatever they want. Stick to that lease, okay? Most leases are for a year. I highly recommend just a year. Don't go anything longer than that because the market could shift and then you could be missing out on potential rent. But when they move out, this is where another thing I want to talk about real quick is you have a timer. Okay, you have 30 days from the day that they move out to process their deposit. I would highly recommend that you charge a deposit up front, so that when they move out and they damage the property, you have some cushion to repair the property. You have to be careful with that. You can only charge for normal wear and tears. So if they have just some minor scuff marks and maybe like a nail hole, you can't charge for that. Okay, so you have to be careful. The Texas property code is actually very vague on what normal wear and tear is. So everyone's gonna have their own interpretation of that. But charge a deposit, so if they do physically damage the property, you can charge them for it. And you have 30 days to process that, send them a description and kind of like an invoice of why you're charging them, you have to get that to them within 30 days. So, and then you start the process all over again, finding your next renter.
Do you allow short-term rentals in your apartments?
That's going to be a per owner basis because the insurance requirement's different, right, Sean?
So that last part.
If I would allow a short-term rental in one of my units,
Well, it's just.
let's say I manage a long-term,
Yeah.
we rent it out, but they want to turn it into a short-term rental.
Airbnb.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the insurance-wise, it's not much difference at all, actually.
Per owner though, right? The owner has to
Yeah.
maybe update their insurance.
Yes. Yeah,
We
you
would
can-
allow it if you said yes.
Yeah, you need to change it from a long-term to a short-term, you need to change your insurance. If you bought a house, you lived in it, and now you rent it out, you definitely need to change that as well. I see that a lot. I
Yep.
see a lot of people
Just
turn a primary into a rental and didn't change the insurance, and that'll mess you up.
So what do they call that? Short-term rental arbitrage?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've done probably 20 of those. I always get owner permission first and tell them to check their insurance.
The biggest difference is the contents. That's the big
Yeah.
difference. Because long-term rental will cover contents that needs to be rental insurance for the tenant. And then the short-term, that's your stuff in there, so you need to cover contents. Different policy, not a lot.
Yep. Good question. Any other questions?